Here's a little letter John Bayless comes to us on what looks like a fake letterhead, but we'll read it anyway in hopes that it may be the truth. What more can we do? Dear Sir, it says, my church, Second Methodist Church in Ottumwa, Iowa, is celebrating its 100th anniversary, and I wonder if you wouldn't congratulate us on the air. Since 1887, Second Methodist has been passionately committed to sacred music of the highest quality. This commitment has almost killed us. It began when a young German musician named Richard Wagner arrived in Ottumwa, Iowa in 1887 as Second Methodist's first director of music. He lasted 4 months. He played the organ so loud you couldn't hear yourself sing, and the key changes. He'd start standing on the promises in A flat, and suddenly you were in F and then in C sharp and bossy. You ever listen to the Ring of the Nibelungen? He thought he was God. He was replaced by Miss Evelyn Palmer. She was very nice. A young French musician named Claude Debussy came in 1896 to Second Methodist. He was sure talented, but he'd play a prelude to a hymn, and it went on and on and on. The guy couldn't find the melody in a paper sack. He didn't know how to resolve something or when to quit trying. Played the processional that wandered in and out and all around. The choir wound up out in the woods. We had no idea what he was doing half the time. Miss Palmer came back then. It was very nice of her. So we got a Russian guy named Stravinsky. He came highly recommended by the bishop, but gosh, the tempo problems. The guy couldn't keep a beat. You'd be singing, he'd speed up and slow down. Weird chords. People looked at each other, shook their heads. He thought he was more important than anybody else. And he refused to play for junior choir. That was the clincher. Out he went. Miss Palmer returned soon after. It was nice to see her again. In 1921, the Reverend John Philip Sousa became minister of music at Second Methodist. Put piccolos and trombones in the choir loft, played everything in 4/4 time, and had the ushers carry white rifles. We lost a lot of folks to the Unitarian Church that year. Then we kind of swung the other way and got a fellow named Gershwin. Nice, polite, hair-combed, on his way from New York to Los Angeles. But somehow he didn't seem totally committed to Methodism, and when he played the offertory and the ushers came by with a collection plate, people sometimes forgot and looked up and said, I'd like a Manhattan on the rocks, not too sweet, and a Gibson for my wife, sir. Miss Palmer replaced him. She was a very nice person. The young Leonard Bernstein became music director at Second Methodist in 1946. Once again, tempo problems, strange key changes, Latin rhythms, you name it. Brilliant but unpredictable. The man had no concept of simple, ordinary congregational hymn singing. Always trying to goad us, prod us, push us. And then he'd stop in the middle of a hymn and talk about music theory. We were sick of it. We just wanted to go to church and sing. We're not a great church. We don't want to be one. We're just a church. And we're sick of music directors pushing us around. So we got back Miss Palmer. 162 years old, but still a trooper. She died last fall. We think she did. Her expression changed at the keyboard. She seemed to sag a little bit, so we buried her. And we replaced her with this John Bayless guy. A nice person in his own way, good musician, but he does get carried away sometimes. Shows off, acts smart, and you just have to talk to him. Shape up, Bayless. Just play the notes. He'll work out. That's to John Bayless.